Well, a very good evening to you all and welcome to the final round of Season 9 of the Alliance Sim Racing Solar Gard Supercar Championship. We've been all across Australia to pretty much every single circuit, including some overseas in America, but the one place in Australia we haven't been yet on iRacing is Adelaide, and that's where we find ourselves this week for the final, the home of the Real Life Supercars Grand Final for 62 laps, 200 kilometres of this brilliant, challenging and dangerous street circuit. We're going to bring you all the action live and free here on the Simple Racing Broadcast YouTube channel. A big hello to everybody watching out there across Australia, New Zealand, and indeed around the world. My name is Isaac Fogey. It's a pleasure to have your company this evening. Alongside me in the commentary box is someone who I've worked a fair bit with, but I believe is one of his first times here at Alliance Sim Racing, albeit maybe for a couple Bathurst 1000s a year or two ago. It's Ewan O'Leary. Ewan, welcome, mates, and keen to get into this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be here. As you say, I've done a couple of about 1000s in my time, but never a regular round of this championship. But it's going to feel like a 1000 in a little bit of a sense here tonight, because it is an enduro round of this season. 200 kilometres, a little bit different, of course. 62 laps around here. It's still a massive challenge, though. And for me, this is a fixture of any supercar championship. This Adelaide street circuit has to be on the calendar, whether it is at the end of the season, like it is these days in the real world, or the opener, which is what I grew up watching, the 500 kilometre 3-race format on the opening round of the season. But yeah, final round of the season this time round, and it's going to hopefully give us a great finale to this season.
Yeah, the fingers crossed. It always delivers, though, Adelaide, and as does Alliance Sim Racing. The racing is always amazing here. Let's have a look at how our championship looks heading into this final round. It is, of course, Will Buchanan at the top of the standings, and well clear of Troy Stone Street, almost 200 points clear, if you don't mind. Jason Bentz is not too far behind Stone Street, so second place still well and truly up for grabs this evening. If both of them are out there, we'll confirm once qualifying finishes a little bit later on. Mark Poynton sits in fourth in the standings, also not too far behind this group of cars. Stephen Varga a little bit on his own there, and probably not at risk of jumping anyone in front or losing a spot to Ricky Hyde behind in sixth. Then it's Brett Horsell and Abel Verban. Travis Daly in P9 is leading the championship, but only by a little bit, 14 points clear of Jace Douglas in P10. So both the Trophy Cup class drivers inside the 10 here as we move across sessions, but both cars inside the 10, but not very far apart on points, and that could play out this evening to be the closest championship battle we have yet to decide. Tony Chapman and Brian Borks hit 11th and 12th, and Darryl Callahan third in class for the Trophy Cup drivers. Then Brad Hayes, Andrew Hoffman and Tommy DeWitt, all relatively close together, could make something happen with that championship, or those championship positions tonight as well, if things go their way. Josh Harris sits in 17th, followed by Troy Sipple, Nick Geary and Phil Manuel rounding out your top 20. And look, Ewan, it's not as close as I think people would be hoping coming into this final round at the top of the standings, but that Trophy Cup class, they are fairly locked line astern on points, Travis Daly and Jace Douglas.
Yeah, that I thought is going to be the one to look at, isn't it, here tonight for the final. Just 14 points when both of them have scored nearly 1,500. It's very close indeed. It's something like less than 1% or something, isn't it? Maybe even less than that here at the end of this season, at the end of this campaign. So yeah, that will be the real focus. But as is the case now with say the Real World Supercars Championship and also this championship as well, Adelaide is such an unpredictable finale. It's so difficult to get round here in a 200 kilometre race without hitting something at some point, with the walls being so close and with the track being so challenging. So qualifying that was already happened is going to have been very important for that track position, but also then the race and staying out of trouble, vital as well to win a championship, that both of them basically starting from zero, a one race shootout basically between the two of them almost, to decide the champion this season.
Yeah, and speaking, well, we had a very much a one-race shootout last night in the MC Motorsport Trans Am final, where the two championship leaders were tied on points, and I think those two gentlemen, Travis Daly and Jace Douglas, are certainly going to feel like that tonight, and I'm keen to see what they can do. You mentioned, it's fairly dangerous, close walls around here. Let's have a look at this circuit, and we will go on board as we have all season long with Simon Haynes in the Solar Guard Ford Mustang. He's going to take us for a lap around this Adelaide Parklands Street Circuit, one of the most iconic circuits on the Supercars calendar, all the way down to the centre chicane, turns 1, 2 and 3, tips it in at 4th gear, gets it across the curb. You don't want to use too much of that curb at turn 2, otherwise you will find yourself with a slowdown. Out of the chicane now, all the way down to turn 4. Don't want to get caught out here. You'll end up in the wall on the outside, back to 3rd gear, and you'll pretty much stay in 3rd gear all the way through the infamous staircase section, through 5, into 6. And then you've got to maximise your run off of 6 to get into turn 7 here. Watch the wall on the outside. It's closer than it ever has been before. Look at it right there. No room for error at all. Out of the corner, you'll come out of 3rd gear now for the first time in quite a while. Up to 5th, potentially to 6th gear. There we go. Find 6th gear at the infamous turn 8. Don't use too much curb inside there. You'll find the wall, and then you'll find the outside wall, which is super easy to do, and many have done. Heavy on the brakes, pull it back to 2nd gear for turn number 9 and slow the car right down, then back through 10 and into 11, staying in 3rd gear across the curb there. Again, not too much curb, that'll upset the car and spill you into that outside wall. You can see just how little room there is for error at this circuit. Across the little kink and then all the way into the final corner, the hairpin. Get it, stop, turn it up, pull it, turn in, and there you go. That is a lap of the Adelaide Street Circuit. A very, very challenging lap and not a lot of room for error. Very, very marginal, Ewan.
Yeah, absolutely. And just reminded there, going through turn 8, just what a fantastic corner that is. To be honest, for me, it's up there as one of my favourite in the world of motorsport, especially in cars like these, when the cars are just about able to go, well, they're not able to go flat out, just having to lift off slightly, but also not having to slow down too much. These cars do have a little bit of downforce on them to help them through there, but the commitment that you have, the commitment to get as close to the wall as possible, especially in qualifying where you can't even graze the wall, or iRacing will invalidate the lap time. It's such a great corner to watch through. So yeah, that's a great illustration of just how exciting this lap is through Adelaide. I'm going to have to go around here many times. 62 laps here tonight is a long way around here to survive.
It is, and it's a lot of opportunities, 62 opportunities in fact, to find that wall at the outside of turn 8. Obviously announced earlier in the week, MotoGP moving to Adelaide next season. Means that the layout will change and we will say goodbye to the infamous turn 8, which has become synonymous with supercars racing. And well, a quick just letting us know in the chat that drivers only have 1 quali lap, not 2. So no pressure at all to get it wrong, and I think we'll find out soon that a couple of drivers might have fallen a little bit wayward. The warm-up session has come to completion, which means we're not too far away from getting started in this one. The cars have all been kicked off the circuit. The grid will be with us very shortly, and we can run through what we can expect at the start of this 62 laps of racing. And here we go. Will Buchanan lines up on pole position, not too far in front of Troy Stonestreet, only a 1/10.5 between them. Then Mark Poynton and Jace Douglas will share row number 2. It's exactly what Douglas needed to do. Try and get some points over over Trav Daly tonight. Simon Haynes on row 5. That's a great qualifying for him. His best qualifying of the season. Then it's Trav Daly sharing row 3 with him. Abel Verban and Phil Manuel on row 4, followed by Tony Chapman and Brett Horsell. Looking a little further afield, we have Ricky Hyde and Chris Burridge on row 6, then Paul Burns and Josh Harris, Darryl Callahan, Troy Sipple, Tommy DeWitt and Brad Hayes. Then Stephen Varga did not set a time in qualifying. He was one of those ones that got caught out with the 1 lap only rule. Rick Varga in P20. And then it is Andrew Hoffman and Ash Hall rounding out your 22-car grid. Tim Nicol and Todd Martin for 24/7 Sim Services in race control tonight. And we thank those guys for all they have done so far this season to get us ready to go racing and make sure that we can put on this fantastic event. And look, very interesting qualifying playing out there, which sees a couple of drivers, including Stephen Varga, who has been at the pointy end of this field and all season, down. And that 1 lap change that I don't think a couple of drivers were ready for has caught a few out.
And no surprise really, because actually getting a lap in round here without grazing the wall anywhere is very, very difficult if you've only got one attempt, which it seems these guys had this time around. So maybe a bit of a mixed up grid compared to what we normally see, but 2 compulsory pit stops means that the drivers do have the opportunity to do something a little bit different on strategy to maybe get themselves out front, because for all of this circuit's merits and all of its good parts, the fact is that it is a bit more difficult to overtake around here than at some of the other circuits that we go to. So they may have to stop early, try and get out of the traffic, get some laps in, and come back later on in the race, because you can really get really embedded in the traffic if you're starting a long way down, like those guys who failed to get a lap time will have to do.
Yeah, a tall order. Look, there's a long way to go in this race, 62 laps. So there's plenty of opportunities for Varga to try and move forward. Plenty of opportunities for drivers to get caught out. Jace Douglas is one I'm looking at that had a great result at Bathurst last week, wants to continue that momentum, has put himself in this championship equation. Only 14 points between himself and Travis Daly. So a great opportunity for him to move forward and try and secure this championship, which he's been working very hard for, and mentioned last week he is super keen to try and get. We're only waiting on a couple more cars, and we don't have long before I believe race control will tell us we are good to go racing. See the cars gridding up here on the field. 22 cars, similar size to that of a supercar grid. Obviously these days it's about a 24 car grid, so only 2 less cars out there than we'd normally expect to see. No low race, but still a very, very healthy grid, and it's certainly going to feel very busy on lap 1, I'm sure, for a lot of these drivers. Converting off the line will be crucial as we run towards the chicane for the first time. And now the lights come up, and for one more time in season 9 we will go racing, albeit on the streets of Adelaide. 5 lights, the lights go out, and a great start for a number of drivers. Troy Stone Street converts well off the line. Will Buchanan though in the second phase comes back at him. We look at them spread out as we run towards the chicane for the first time, and it is Will Buchanan ahead of Troy Stone Street. Mark pointing into second, a couple of drivers moving and shaking as we run through. Only Brett Horsell with the slowdown clears that pretty much straight away. But into turn 4, it is Will Buchanan well clear of Stone Street from Poynton, from Douglas, from Manuel. Then Trav Daly in P6, Abel Verban in 7th, then Chapman, Horsell, Josh Harris, Ricky Hyde and Chris Burridge having a little ding-dong at the back of the field as well. And the elbows are out on the street circuit early.
Yeah, they certainly are, as always here at Adelaide. Getting the cars off the line, always so difficult, and even the short run towards turn 1, you can see a lot of drama on the way towards there, but Will Buchanan able to hold on to the race. In fact, the first 4 drivers all able to hold on to their position in the field. Of course, crucial for Chase Douglas, who is ahead, crucially, of Travis Daly on this opening lap.
Yeah, he's found himself ahead of Travis Daly, which is a great opportunity. There's a couple of cars going a little bit slow there. It looked like Troy Sipple might have been caught out there with something. And we can see him now being overtaken by Rick Varga, who goes around the outside into 11. He's a bit slow. Here's Sips, so might be carrying a little bit of damage. Does he pull in this time by? No, he's going to continue on. But out in front, it is Will Buchanan comfortably already out to a half-second lead over Troy Stone Street and Mark Point. No Jason Bentz tonight as well, so that's interesting to note that the man who was battling Stone Street for second in the championship is not here, which means that Troy Stone Street pretty much has that second spot wrapped up, unless he has a major incident tonight. Even then, I believe he was ahead of Jason Bentz, so regardless of where he finishes, he will have second secured in the championship. So the reigning champion, he falls so short, won the season in emphatic fashion in season 8, and just has fallen a little bit short with the dominance that Will Buchanan has showed. Just want to talk about this livery as well. It's for any Aussies watching, the Cat livery, the Caterpillar machinery livery, is a fantastic car. That is, well, one of the iconic liveries in supercars, and this car is obviously mimicking that this week, and it looks fantastic. He had a nice looking FPR livery at Bathurst last week, and the throwbacks that these Revolution e-racing boys are putting on are second to none, and he's leading at the moment, so in emphatic style. Well, I will say, Ewan, and we brought this up last week, myself and Thomas Searle, Will Buchanan has not had a good run in the Enduro so far this season. We've had believe we've had 3 Enduros now. He has not had a good result in any of them. I believe he has not finished on the podium in any Enduro we've had so far this season. So the single race format and Will Buchanan don't seem to go hand in hand, but hopefully he'll be able to break that tonight and stay at the top of the timing sheets.
Well, yeah, because it is almost a different type of racing completely to the sprint racing that we've had this season. This is a 200-kilometre race, but we also had longer ones at Sandown and Bathurst, longer ones than what we've got tonight at those 2 venues, and that means just a longer period of uninterrupted concentration required as he grazes the wall through turn 8 there just slightly. It's going to be the same tonight. It's going to be well over an hour, this race. It's going to be, any distance around Adelaide, is going to be a real challenge. It's in the background there. That was Hyde touching the wall. Well, more than touching the wall, quite hard getting into the wall there. And Josh Harris is going to try and get through and take advantage of that. Doesn't look like quite able to. But yeah, it's almost a different type of racing and completely. Buchanan has very much gained the points at the sprint rounds of this season, where there's multiple races on one night, and that's how he's got into an unassailable position in this championship pretty much. But yeah, it would be nice for him to cap off the season with an Enduro, even a solid result in the Enduros, maybe even an Enduro win.
Absolutely would, and all the Enduros we've had this season have been absolute classics. So I would expect that Adelaide will be nothing less tonight. Revolution iRacing saying in the chat that is the 2004 Craig Lowndes Cat FPR livery, that he worked on it overnight, and well, that hard work has certainly paid off because it looks fantastic. We're watching this battle now though with Ricky Hyde, Josh Harris. Daryl Callahan is also not too far behind with Chris Burridge for company as well. So they're battling for position. This is 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and then you can see Paul Burns just in the background, 15th on the road. The top 10 starting to spread out ever so slightly. But where it counts here back for the sheep stations, there's some healthy little battles going on.
Yeah, there are. And Harris again just poking the nose to the inside there on the brakes down towards turn 9. Not able to get down the inside there. The damage though for Hyde does look pretty major really on the front left corner. We'll see whether that is actually affecting him at all at the moment, or whether it's just the speed that he doesn't have right now anyway, and Josh Harris is able to capitalise on that. But you'd think that with that amount of front left damage that the aerodynamics and therefore the higher speed turns especially, he'll be struggling just a little bit to actually get round here. Maybe it's all cosmetic and he's going to be able to get away with it, but that's the legacy of hitting the wall pretty hard as he did through turn 8 a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, found the fence quite significantly, which was, well, the last thing you want really in one of these cars. Me jump forward a little bit to look at Tony Chapman putting some pressure on Simon Haynes. Simon Haynes with a brilliant qualifying tonight, and it's definitely because he's using that Solar Gard St. Cobain livery. So because he's got that brilliant sponsor plug on the car, that's why it's so quick. And again, he is flying. Qualified, well, he's lost 3 spots since the start, so qualified up the order in P5, back to P8, but still doing a fantastic job at the moment, but feeling the pressure right now. This is the closest battle inside the 10. If it keeps going, this could reel Ricky Hyde into it, who started to pull away now ever so slightly from Dale Callahan. Something has happened to Josh Harris, who seems to have disappeared off the track, and we'll see if we can figure out exactly what that was that transpired between them. Can't see anything on my timing. We'll have a look. This is Daryl Callahan going for the overtake on Josh Harris. You can see Josh Harris in the foreground. Does he just run a little bit wide? He does. He actually gets a little bit loose. Has he looped it? Don't think so. Where is he? Wow. There he is. He didn't loop it, but I think he had a bit of a moment. It certainly cost him a lot of time and a lot of speed, and he now finds himself back down in 15th place. Yeah, I mean, impressive save if he didn't spin all the way around, but he did lose some places, and so crucial for losing time here. There's a drive-through penalty for car 10, by the way, not cat 10. Car 10. That's car 10. That'll be a drive-through penalty, but already down in last place at the moment anyway. First incident coming through from tonight. And surprising really that there haven't been more, because normally early on here at Adelaide you see a lot going on
and some incidents as a result of that. But no, it's the first of the night. Possibly not the last. Probably not the last indeed. But we'll have to see. It will cost you quite a lot of time here. Indeed, there is another penalty going through here. 5-second penalty for car 59. Also a driver a bit further down in the field, Tommy DeWitt, down in 16th place. So clearly there's been stuff on lap 1 happening down the field, but actually out front it was a very clean start.
It was a very clean start, and I just want to go back and have a look at that start if we can. I'm going to try and get maybe the chopper cam here, just to give us a bit of an idea of what it looked like off the start, because Will Buchanan, he didn't get away probably as quickly as you would have liked in comparison to Stone Street. Stone Street had a better initial phase. Just watch here off the start. Stone Street on your right gets a nice conversion for Stone Street, the early jump, but then Will Buchanan just finds the little something in that second phase and is well clear by the time they get to turn 1. It's just a brilliant conversion. Looked a little bit shaky and maybe a slight amount of wheel spin more than what he would have liked off the line, but again, that second phase of the start for Will Buchanan was just textbook, and a lot of people saying in the chat that that start was mint, and indeed I feel like if you're going to nail any phase of the start, you want it to be that second phase, because that's what gets you in front by the time you get to the chicane.
Yeah, so interesting to try and get these cars off the line. You've got that initial jump, as you say, but also the acceleration up to speed as well, both of which you've got to get absolutely right, as the first of the major stops here happening at the front of the field for Phil Manuel, who's into the very tight pit lane here at Adelaide for the very first time. So he makes his way down. First compulsory pit stop being made, but only after 7 laps, and he's surely calculated this so that he doesn't end up in so much traffic, because yes, he's stuck behind somebody before, but he could be even more stuck in traffic if he's calculated this wrong a little bit further down. But he'll be hoping that he comes out in a bit of clean air here once he's made his pit stop in just a moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to go so early for Phil Manuel. Just looking at where he is going to pop out on track here, and we'll jump down and have a look at exactly where he is. He's back out on circuit now. There he is. You can see him just pulling out of the pit lane. He will be just in front of Andrew Hoffman and about 12 seconds behind Ash Hall. So Stephen Varga has pitted early as well, as has Troy Sipple, and then Brad Hayes has stopped and also toured the lane for a drive-through. We still got that black flag though, so he will have to come in again, I believe, to try and clear that black flag. Andrew Hoffman, the only one in that little group that hasn't actually stopped yet. So Phil Manuel, what he has now is, well, essentially it's going to start to diminish as he has more pace than Ash Hall, but 11 seconds of fresh air he can use to his advantage. He was on the back of Jace Douglas, and it wasn't really getting him anywhere. He was ebbing and flowing ever so slightly and not really able to find a way past the 99 car. This gives him the opportunity to undercut. Yes, it's very early, but drivers would have done their research coming into this round and know exactly what they need on fuel to get home. They do have 2 mandatory pit stops they have to complete at some stage in this race, and no fuel limits. So they can fill the cars all the way up and run them as long as they can. That will ask a lot of the tyres doing a really long stint, but I don't think pitting early is a bad call here by Phil Manuel to try and just give himself a bit of that fresh air.
Well, as I mentioned before, that fresh air is the most important thing here. It is the big reason why he came in early, and it is pointless to do an early stop if you're not going to be in clean air. Now, he's got nearly 11, and he just gets to slow down there for the first chicane. He's got 11 seconds up to the next car, but the problem is that he's going to be catching some of those guys quite quickly, because he was running towards the front there for Emmanuel, and he'll be able to catch those guys towards the back quicker than what he was able at the front of the field. How quickly will those 11 seconds go away, and from then on, what happens? Because he's going to be stuck behind some drivers who are definitely slower than him. Maybe that by the time he's actually caught up to them, they'll be coming in anyway, because if you split this race into thirds, then we're pretty much halfway to the first pit stops of this race, and we'll see whether that is what everybody decides to do here. But as I say, if Phil Manuel catches up to those in front and they don't pit for quite some laps, then he could end up stuck behind some drivers who are even slower than the driver he was stuck behind in the first place.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, and that's what you have to weigh up as a driver, so I'm sure he will be aware of what he needs to do once he does get to the back of Ash Hall. We're looking at Rick Varga putting some pressure on Tommy DeWitt. Ash Hall is actually in the background of this, so that's the next car in the queue for Phil Manuel to catch. He's about 11 seconds behind this group. Rick Varga, a little bit of damage on that front right-hand corner, which indicates he's found a wall or tyre barrier at some stage here that has not agreed with the front bumper. There's a car on the wall there, you can see in the background. That is trying to have a look. I think it's actually Brad Hayes that's parked it in the fence. It is Brad Hayes, and he's had heavy contact there, so there is a lot of damage there, and there could be a safety car. In fact, Tim Nicol is rolling, and that is a safety car for the first time today. And as if on cue, Ewan O'Leary, every single car is driving into the pit lane.
Yeah, the top 17 have yet to come into pit lane yet, so I'd be surprised if any of those 17 carry on here as they make their first compulsory pit stop of the day. They'll still be able to go at full speed here until they catch up to the train. Oh, there is one carrying on. Oh no! Well, we'll see what's done about that pit entry there, because that was massively over the curb there on the way into pit lane. Not sure who it was, but that can't be a legal pit entry.
It was Chris Burridge, who decided very, very late that he wanted to come in, and unfortunately that might see him, we'll keep an eye on his pit stop time, that might see him falling ill with the shorts. Phil Manuel's going to come back in. He's decided it's time for his second stop, so maybe he believes that he could get home from here on a tank of fuel, and I'm sure someone in the chat will be able to spread a bit of light on what exactly the fuel numbers look like around here on a full tank of fuel. But this is big. If this is his second and final stop and he's not planning on coming back to the lane again, that's at least 50 laps he needs to do on a set of tyres, which is a huge ask at Adelaide.
Yeah, I am surprised that and the amount of traffic again that you end up in. Yes, it might have been that you just end up in the same traffic you were before, because actually it wasn't very long ago when Phil Manuel came into the pit lane, but that does feel like a very, very long stop. Maybe it's a genius call, because he's not going to have to make another stop under green or at all in this race, potentially, but you know, I do think, yes, those tyres, first of all, are going to be looking a little bit worse for wear, and also the amount of time you lose in traffic might well get over both of those factors. Oh dear. Oh. Brad Hayes just braking too late, coming in towards turn 5 there, and just locking up, going straight on into the wall to bring out our first safety car of the night.
Yeah, it's certainly, well, the saying is, can't park there, mate, and that is absolutely true. You cannot park there. Not ideal at all. What this means, though, is Will Buchanan leads the field over pretty much everybody else. It's brought us into a little bit of a stalemate. There is a car at the front of the field. I'm trying to work out who that is. I believe it might actually be Andrew Hoffman, who has sat himself in front of the safety car. Gonna see if we can get a visual on him. It is Andrew Hoffman, so Southern Cross Racing just sitting at the front of the queue. He is 20th on the road, so you have to go past the safety car at some stage, but I think just to sort of slow everybody down a little bit and position the cars and get everything under control, they have just made him wait, and they will let him go eventually when we get the all clear from race control. Troy Sipple and is a lap down and will have to go, so I believe he will be the first car to come past, although he is actually in the pits and essentially actually out of this race, so we'll keep an eye on that. There's no other cars on my timing that are a lap down besides Brad Hayes, and you're not allowed to unlap yourself unless, well, if you are the cause of the safety car. So because Brad Hayes has caused this safety car, he cannot unlap himself even when he does come out of the pits if we're still under safety car period. I would suspect we'll get going within the next lap or so once the order corrects itself and Andrew Hoffman is let by, but they will just be waiting for that call. In the meantime, we can sort of take stock of where we sit. Travis Daly is actually ahead after that pit stop, Ewan, of Jace Douglas, so that championship for the Club Trophy class has now turned around completely, and Travis Daly is back in the lead.
Yeah, and that's because of pit stop times here. Travis Daly's stop was only 26 seconds, one of the shorter of the field last time around. 34 seconds from Jace Douglas was more like the norm from everybody else. So interesting what that difference would have been between those two. But first bit of a change there between those two on the race here today. Travis Daly coming into the day in front in the championship, but has spent the day trailing so far. And actually there was a car between them as well, which would have been putting Daly in some championship. Travis Daly in some championship danger, but no longer. Now the lap car is finally, although say lap car, Andrew Hoffman was never actually one lap down. Not sure why the safety car picked him up rather than the actual race leader, but anyway, Hoffman's gone past now, and surely won't be too far until we see the green flag again. And a note in YouTube chat, by the way, says to us that 48 laps is the maximum that they can do on a full tank, so Phil Manuel might not be able to make it. Well, they definitely won't be able to make it. I would contest that slightly with the fact that we've got this safety car first of all, which will be saving a lap or so of fuel, I would say. Then we've got this circuit, Adelaide, which is one of the best for actually fuel saving, especially if he's stuck behind someone. Now, Phil Manuel might be in bigger trouble with different problems if indeed he's stuck behind somebody, but never mind that. I think he can save the fuel to make it to the end here. Otherwise, I don't think he would have pitted under that safety car at that time.
No, and he would have done the maths, he would know. And Ryan Palmer also contributing to say that Brad Hayes has done a Ryan Palmer. No, Ryan, that's at turn 4. So he, as much as you hope that he's done a Ryan Palmer, and you were hoping someone else has done what you do, that's all the way back there at turn 4. So not quite a Ryan Palmer. We're being told that there is a new safety car sponsor on board for this race, Launtel, and it does look fantastic, this brand new safety car. Obviously, before this, it was the Chubby Buns safety car, who are still a sponsor of the series, but now we have a new safety car sponsor being driven by one Tim Nicol, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It's great to have these guys on board. We appreciate their support and getting behind the ASR, the Alliance Sim Racing Solar Gard Supercar Championship, and giving their name and their graphics. So it's new sponsor that has come on board. Well, I don't know, hopefully for next season. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But Launtel, so thank you to all the team at Launtel, and you can see the website is on the front bumper there as well. But that safety car looks fantastic. We should go green this time by, fingers crossed. We are quietly hoping. We've been under safety car for a couple laps now, just a bit of a stalemate. There'll be about 50 laps left when we do go green. Fuel saving for Phil Manuel, it'll be a big ask, but even then, he may only need to just splash and dash. He won't need a lot of fuel, so even if he does have to come back in Ewan O'Leary, he will be stopped for a significantly less amount of time than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly, and that should give a big advantage. I think, to be honest, he will try to stay out of the pit lane from here as the safety car now does pull away, coming through turn 8. Of course, as ever, there are rules as to when you can go at the end of the safety car. Any point from the apex at turn 13 here, which is the penultimate corner, that right-handed dog leg before the hairpin. See when Buchanan decides to go here. It just picks up the pace slightly after that safety car. And everybody else is going to have to wake up a little bit here, because there's some gaps starting to be opened up already before we've even gone back to green again. So they need to wake up and close some of these gaps a little bit before Buchanan goes and steals a march on everybody.
Yeah, there's going to be some work to do for Stone Street to stay with him. Mark Poynton will also want to go here. They're trying not to let him out of their sights. Abel Verban's dropped off a little bit from this group and needs to close in if he wants to be a part of this as well. Look for Will Buchanan to find the throttle pedal. He's waiting. He will carry this into the final corner. You expect him to pick up the throttle as soon as they go through the apex of turn 14. Still waiting, hasn't found it just yet. Now he goes, and we have a restart, the first restart of the evening, and it's a beautiful conversion for Will Buchanan, who has already built a small gap, over half a second already, to Troy Stone Street, who's feeling the pressure from Mark Poynton, behind at this opening stage of the safety car restart. In the background, everybody seems to have gotten through fairly cleanly. Phil Manuel will want to put some pressure on early, though. Try and move up some places. Looks down the inside. That's Troy Sipple, I believe, that he is battling with. Actually, it's one of the Chevys, so Ash Hall it is a part of that. And Josh Harris also in behind. Ash Hall has stopped. Yes, Ashall has stopped, and a couple of drivers finding themselves a little bit further down from where they would like to be. But Phil Manuel putting those brand new tyres to good use early, and if he's fuel saving, he's certainly not looking at doing that right now as he tries to continue to move forward. Jace Douglas is putting pressure on Travis Daly as well as they run down towards turn 9. Daly covers the inside at 9. And just shuts off any switchback that Jace Douglas was thinking about there as well. Jace Douglas found the rear bumper of Travis Daly and was a little bit caught out. I think he was hoping to drive underneath, but this is going to have to be a brilliant defensive drive now for the next 50 odd laps for Travis Daly if he wants to try and hold on to this championship.
Oh, I love the look down the inside in towards the final corner there from Douglas. He is really putting the pressure on here early. As you say, trying to do the up and under through the hairpin there, trying to cut back underneath, made contact with Daly just in front of him. But these two, again, don't forget, were reversed earlier on in the day. And Daly's got a slowdown penalty. Immediately going to let that one go because of the slowdown through the first chicane. So Douglas goes to the outside and through. Daly's still not served it though, and will try to do so now through these 90-degree corners in the middle of the lap. Still hasn't got this clear. Douglas is going to get not only through, but about a second's worth of a gap as well.
Yeah, he finally clears it. It's taken him forever to try and get rid of that. Must have been a fairly big penalty, and the iRacing stewards are fairly strict about cutting that chicane at turn 1 and 2. And as a result, he finds himself with a significant slowdown that took him forever to clear, and he's lost all that time, including the position to Jace Douglas. So Travis Daly, lots of work to do now. A little bit shallow, and that seems to be the line that he takes into turn 9 naturally, even when he's not defending. But he's got Tony Chapman, Simon Haynes and Stephen Varga all in behind him, and Rick Vigar in as well as part of that, and Brett Horsell also close behind. Front group starting to spread out again already. Will Buchanan out to over a second on Troy Stone Street, who is slowly beginning to shake Mark Point, and this is the closest battle we have on track right now, with a large group of cars very wide there for Tony Chapman. This could open the door for Simon Haynes, who gets a small overlap, but Tony Chapman just able to find a little bit of grip on turn exit at the final corner, and by the time they get to the chicane here at turns 1, 2 and 3, he is ahead, and that advantage that Simon Haynes was probably hoping for has diminished ever so slightly, and he's not close enough at 4 to get an overtake done either. Stone Street now has a slowdown. That's going to bring him right back into pressure from Mark Point. He goes up the inside into 5, into 6, sorry, now into 7. They're still going to be side by side here, and it's going to go the way of Mark Poynton, who held the inside line through 5 and 6 into 7, and now is ahead before they get to the very dangerous turn 8. Now, there is a gentleman's agreement in place amongst supercars and supercars drivers that when they get to turn 8, the car that is ahead gets priority. You don't really want to try and go side by side. Look at Jace Douglas in the background going up the inside of Verban. A lock up from somebody there. I think it was Troy Stone Street. Verban and Douglas are going to remain side by side. Stone Street's also going to fall victim to this now as well. They're still side by side through 11. This is brilliant racing between these two. Douglas wants to try and put a car in between himself and Daly, but also not at the expense of the track position he has gained. Looks down the inside now into the final corner. Can he get the overlap? He does. It's not going to be ahead though off the final corner, and they're going to drag race down towards the chicane at turns 1, 2 and 3. It looks like Abel Verban is in front though and will have track position. He does. So Verban holds on for now over Jace Douglas. Travis Daly has started to reel this group in as well a little bit, so if this continues as Douglas looks to the outside, Trav Daly will become a factor as a part of this battle as well.
Yeah, inside for the next corner for Douglas. Might have this done now. Gets the nose in front now, gets the whole car in front, and up to 4th place for Jace Douglas. It has very much allowed all the others to catch up, and that does include Travis Daly. So Daly will hope to follow through here, also on Verban very, very soon into the top 5. But that is that a little bit of a buffer, that bit of a margin, that driver in between himself and Daly here that Jace Douglas has been looking for, and after a long time finally makes that pass as they come down towards the hairpin. Everybody looking to the inside, everybody half defending to the inside as they come through. Douglas up to 4th place. That was hard fought for, but in the end nicely done, and an important pass to be made as well.
Yeah, very important pass, and got that done, crucially putting a car and more points between himself and Travis Daly. Will try and get an update as this race goes on and exactly what that championship picture is looking like for those two. Will Buchanan, a comfortable lead in front. Mark Poynton 3.8 seconds behind now from Troy Stonestreet. Jace Douglas in fourth. Then Emil Verban, Trav Daly. Simon Haynes is right in behind Tony Chapman, as is Stephen Varga, who's a part of this. Haynes is going to have a look into four, shows the nose. There was room provided, but he didn't get deep enough on the brakes to get alongside, so has to slot back in behind. Through five now on the run to six. Can he get an overlap into six? There's not a lot of opportunity for major speed difference to get a overtake done here. We've seen a couple do it, but not able to this time by for Simon Haynes. A drive off seven though, the slipstream could prove crucial. If you can get a nice run through eight, you might be able to make something happen through into nine. Although I will say turn eight directly behind another car is scary. You cannot see anything when you run into turn eight behind another car, and you sort of have to hope that the car in front of you is going the right direction. When you turn in, you don't both find the wall at the same time. Simon Haynes dropping off a little bit from Chapman now, because he's looking backwards at Stephen Varga in P9, who's starting to apply the blowtorch.
Yeah, it's one long line. This is at the front of the field, or towards the front of the field. As further down the field, Paul Buns seems to have had some problems on this lap, dropping way down to 19th place down the back end of the field. But yeah, this is where the real congestion is at this racetrack at the moment. There is Buns getting back underway very, very slowly. Doesn't seem to be any visual damage to me, but just getting back underway gingerly. And now Travis Daly's got a slowdown penalty. It's happened again here. Can he serve that now without losing a place?
It's going to be the big ask, and Chapman and Haynes are right there. This is going to bottleneck these three behind, so this could create opportunities for Haynes and Varga to both try and move forward on Chapman if they can. The pressure has been applied. The group has closed right up. Rick Varga also not too far off the back of this as well. He's finally cleared that slowdown, Travis Daly. And again, that's the second time he's done that through that Shannon chicane, and it has to be very frustrating. It would feel very frustrating for Daly. It feels very frustrating for anyone that it happens to. Is Haynes close enough here into the braking zone? And nine looks like in the background, Brett Horsell feels like he's close enough on Rick Varga. A very late dive, manages to pull it up, but backs out of it. So stops the car more than he would probably be keen to, because he didn't quite have the overlap before turn-in and wanted to avoid contact, which is smart. Haynes, though, not able to capitalise. Chapman was very held up there, and that gap that he'd started to establish on Haynes was all but diminished, and Haynes still not able to find a way past, which just shows how difficult it is to set up a pass around here and how hard you have to work to try and find a way through on your opponents.
Yeah, it can be super, super difficult here to work your way past here at Adelaide sometimes. Haynes with a decent run out of turn three, but the straight down here towards turn four just not long enough. Bumpy on the braking zone down there into the 90-degree right-hander, and this is the point at which you've got to apply the pressure really through these 90-degree left and right-handers, because it's unlikely that you're going to be able to make a pass round here, but the big opportunity is coming up very, very soon, and that's down in towards turn 9. And a good exit out of there through turn 7 to get close to Chapman again, then commit through turn 8, and then you might be able to get the pass done in towards 9, but it's looking very difficult to do. About half a second behind is too far back, and they all stay in line on the way towards turn 9 again. Some of these guys though will feel like they're very much stuck in traffic at the moment. We are in the window where they can stop and make it to the end, but are there going to be any early stoppers here for the final time, or are they all going to understand that might just lead to them ending up in even more traffic when they come out? It's I'm not sure at the moment, but for now they're all just bearing it. They're all just staying in this one large group, and they all seem a little bit stuck at the moment.
They certainly do. The Chubby Buns replay here. Hopefully going to tell us a story, although it says not playing ball. We'll have another look, see if we can. So this is what happened to Paul Burns and why he was going slowly. So this is the run. Look at Phil Manuel there. Shows the nose on the inside towards 9. There's going to be contact between the two of them, and results in Paul Burns having a little bit of a spin. Josh Harris part of that as well. A continued spin there, and then just finds the concrete berm there. You can see just there sticking up after the curb ends. There is a concrete gutter that sticks up, and that was where Paul Burns found contact with, and that actually did break the car, which is not ideal at all. and you can see he's going quite slowly because that car had a fair bit of damage on it. He is still out there, still rolling, has not come back in for a second pit stop, so obviously the car is okay enough to keep going, but he is walking wounded at the moment as well. This is a further moment a bit later on for Phil Manuel coming into turn 9. And does he get this a little bit wrong? He does. A bit of a lock up there, has to slow the car right down to try and get it turned in. So nothing too scary, but carrying too much speed, you can find yourself in the wall pretty easily on the exit of 9.
Yeah, interesting to see that replay there a couple of moments ago for Phil Manuel. I did wonder why he was 5 seconds off the back of the pack, and now there's a black flag next to his name. I wonder whether race control will come through with a message very soon to tell us what's going on there, because it seems that he's been adjudged to be at fault. And this is always the danger of making your early pit stop and getting back in the traffic there after the safety car. I think he should have stayed out, to be honest, Manuel, under that safety car to get some track position back, but he decided to take his final stop of the day, and he has paid the price, to my mind, for it already. Change for second there between Stone Street and Poynton, just briefly. It's fight for second, which is now about 7 seconds behind Buchanan, the race leader.
Yeah, he's well, and that's I said on lap 1, but it is the drive-through for Phil Manuel for the contact with Paul Burns. So I did say lap 1, but I believe that is the lap just a couple of laps ago now, back on lap 17. So not lap 1, lap 17, but he has been served a drive-through for that contact. Mark Poynton had a slowdown through the centre chicane, which is the reason why he is being overtaken by Troy Stone Street, and all that hard work that he did to get past Stone Street, who also had a slowdown and was the reason he lost second place. It's swings and roundabouts at the moment for these two, because he's found his way back past, and Mark Poynton has to do that hard work all over again to gain second place back.
Yeah, exactly. And as we've seen already, it can be an awful lot of hard work to make passes around here. So he has to follow now through the middle sector. That's the double right-hander, the double 90-degree right-hander towards the back straight for those two. This group's still ongoing as well. Back in the pack, Horsell closer to Vigor here for the last spot inside the top 10. A little bit of front end damage on the 014 at the moment, by the way, as well. But this group's seeming very, very difficult to split apart, as the difficulty in overtaking is really, it remains really, still remaining a big problem.
Yeah, it's still, and also you don't want to push too hard because you don't want to get damage on the car. So everybody trying to keep up and find a way past, but you don't want to force anything to go for a dive bomb move like you might do if the circuit was a bit more open and flowing, because that would really take away any major risk of getting a huge amount of damage on the car. Whereas with the close concrete walls here, just one slight wrong or incorrect or uncomfortable piece of contact will result in one of these cars finding the fence, even both of these cars finding the fence, and you certainly don't want it to happen. Simon Haynes finally going for the overtake on Tony Chapman, sets it up into turn 1. They're going to go side by side through the chicane. A bit of a lock-up from Chapman, who'll run over the curb, and he might get a slowdown from that. As a result, he does. So he will have to concede more positions as Varga goes past. Look for Vigar in the background to maybe try and go past, although that has already been cleared for Tony Chapman. And it was a bit awkward. They got into turn 1 side by side and caught out a little bit there, I think, because Simon Haynes, we can see here, we'll go back and have a look at exactly what happened. So off the corner, a little bit loose there for Tony Chapman. He just got the rear end stepping out on him, and that invited Simon Haynes to the party to look to go past. And you can see here, Tony Chapman, just watch him as we run into this. He gets a little bit of a lock-up, carries a bit too much speed, and just across the curb, and that's enough for the iRacing stewards to hand him that slowdown penalty. We've seen a couple of drivers fall to the wayside of so far this evening, and Simon Haynes, as a result, moves back up into 7th place, and only 2 places now away from where he started in this one, which was, he's been working at that hard for a little while, and again, a little bit of a mistake from Chapman on the exit of the final corner opened the door for him to do so. Travis Daly in front in 6th position, putting some pressure on Abel Verban now. He can see Jace Douglas driving away into the distance. He does not want that championship battle to get too far out of his hands, and if he can keep Jace Douglas in his sights and a position in front, that is probably the ideal place for him to be at the moment. So he needs to find a way past Verban soon.
Yeah, it really does, and felt like that was oh dear me, that's I thought those two were on a collision course there for a moment. Chapman and Vigor through into the middle sector, very close again as they just make a little bit of contact. Vigor on the inside though should be able to get through here. Of the next two right-handers, in fact the next four corners all to the right, and that should allow him through into ninth position. But what does this mean for Chapman now? How many more are going to go through? Because Horsell is next in the queue lining up, and there's many more behind who will be fancying their chances towards the hairpin.
Yeah, a number of drivers all here. Brett Horsell the first, of Callahan, Hyde, Burridge, all a part of this. Look at, well, that is Brett Horsell going down the inside into 9. Deep on the brakes, they're going to be side by side. A bit of a touch up between a couple of drivers there off the corner. Horsell is in front and should get the position through 10 and into 11. He does. Darryl Callahan will be next in queue that fancy his chance. Tony Chapman, unfortunately, getting his ears boxed here a little bit and going backwards in places. He lost the spot to Haynes, and then it was Varga, and then Vigar, and now Horsell. Darryl Callahan, the next driver that fancies his chances at gaining a spot. Tony Chapman, though, steadies the ship for now, albeit now outside the 10 in 11th place. And a bit of work to do to try and hold on to these positions, and it's just little mistakes here and there that are opening the doors for drivers behind, and that's really the story of Adelaide. You can maintain track position in front if you can be consistent, but a couple of mistakes here and there, maybe a slowdown penalty, really starts to open up doors and open up opportunities for drivers to just pick their way through and gain those crucial track positions.
Yes, it just takes that one moment, as you say, and that's the fascinating thing about battles like this. See it quite often in GT3 racing. Doesn't even have to be in a street circuit in those cars, but just when there's a big group like this that eventually gets thrown apart, and as soon as one thing changes in the group, the entire dynamic changes, and it can create fights like this again. Moving it over down in towards the hairpin. Horsell defending from Chapman, who gets drilled by Callahan there in towards the hairpin. Not intentionally, of course, but just I say everybody's dynamic has just changed slightly in this group because of one position changing. Chapman seems to very much be the cork in the bottle here, by the way, and now the three who are still stuck behind him are the ones who are still at his speed. But yeah, this whole dynamic has changed, and a little bit of contact down in towards the hairpin that time round as well.
Yeah, a little bit of contact, and it was just slightly awkward there. Callahan very late on the brakes, fancied himself a move, but I think it was just a little bit too little too late, and tried to pull it up, but as soon as you try and slam on the brakes in these cars, it just locks instantly, and as a result the car slid rather than stop, and you have to then start to modulate the brake pedal to allow brake pressure to come back, stop the tyres from locking and just sliding across the tarmac, and you're trying to do all that within a couple of milliseconds to then avoid contact with the car in front. So ever so slightly awkward. They do maintain track position though, no major damage to either car, which is good news for both Chapman and Callahan. The not so good news for Callahan is he's now got Ricky Hyde and Chris Burridge putting pressure on from behind, and Chapman has actually disappeared a little bit up the road ever so slightly. Horsell in front, meanwhile, was putting some pressure on Rick Vigar. So this is, again, a nice little battle. Horsell has been there or thereabouts all season. A few good results here and there, and he'd love another finish inside the top 10 tonight to finish off his season. Out in front, though, will be Cannon. Currently just under 9 seconds clear. Mark Points just found himself with another slowdown, so he'll lose more time to Stone Street through this lap. But Will Buchanan is in a lead of his own at the moment, and showing why he is at the top of the points standings.
Yeah, as you mentioned, though, the endurance rounds have not been where he's built that lead, so this is going to be one final mark of domination on this season, if indeed he can hold this all the way to the end, because this is a long race shaping up here tonight of nearly an hour and a half. If he can hold on throughout that throughout that time period, show that he's consistent over such a long and difficult race at a difficult circuit like this one, that'll be one final mark of his speed and dominance over the course of this season, if he can hold on to it as they come out of turn 7 onto the back straight again for these guys. There goes Travis Daly, finally down the inside of Verban and getting into the top 5. Douglas has now gotten nearly 4 seconds up the road, which is a bit of a problem, but at least Travis Daly doesn't have any drivers between the pair of them now and can focus on closing that margin.
Yeah, and this will be interesting to note now for Daly. Just how much pace does he have? He probably felt like he was getting a little bit held up behind Abel Verben. Verben will try and stay with him. So what can Trav Daly do to attempt to pull away now and close in that gap back to Jace Douglas? So we'll keep an eye on Travis now as he rolls through the next few laps. We're also keeping an eye on those battles just outside the 10 that are for sheep stations, really. As we've said a couple of times throughout the season, there is some lovely little battles that do take place, and I wonder if Matty Morgan's going to put a sheep station on the line for the best place driver outside the 10 again this evening. He seems to love these battles, as we all do, because even though, look, everything is worth something, and a 13th place is still a fantastic result if you can put a good battle in and put a lot of effort in, but these guys outside the 10, they love to put on a bit of a display and just really show what they can do. And sometimes you find, and it's no discredit to the guys at the front, they are incredibly quick and incredibly talented, but sometimes you find the best racing is outside the 10 because these guys just push each other.
Yeah, as I say, sometimes the racing at the back of the field is more exciting. In some ways, because they do have nothing really to play for. In reality, so the stakes are quite high at the front of the field. In the top 5, there's a couple of championships on the line, although one of them is basically settled here. There's a championship on the line up there. Oh dear, and Chapman off the road, and finally the cork in the bottle's been released. Coming through the left-hander, tricky left-hander at turn 11 there, where the wall is so close there to collect you. Chapman has made an error and actually cuts his losses by coming straight in, which is not a bad idea at all.
Not a bad idea at all. Let's have a look at what happened to Tony Chapman here, coming down towards, well, this is all the way back on the final corner, so it's turn 9, so it's actually registered as having a bit of a crash here. Horsell's gone wide, had to pull the car up ever so slightly more to avoid hitting Horsell. That's ruined his momentum a little bit. Gets on the grass on the exit of 10 towards 11, locks it up, just avoids the fence though. That's fantastic work from Chapman to pull that car up and get it stopped, because it's super duper easy to find the fence there. And as we have said a couple of times throughout this season, do a Ryan Palmer and find the middle of the wall on the outside of the corner, and then, as you said, when he cuts his losses, comes into the lane for a stop. And I think that's probably a smart call. It gets his second pit stop out of the way and just gives him a chance to reset, have a bit of a breather, and take a few deep breaths to make sure that he is going to get to the end of this race in one piece.
Yeah, exactly. And being pretty much halfway, it probably is a good time to make your way into pit lane as well. Don't forget, pretty much everyone came in on lap 10 when the safety car came out earlier, so they need to go a little bit further to split the second part of the race after the safety car in half, I suppose. But nevertheless, it's not a bad time at this stage to come in. You've got to worry a little. Obviously talking a lot about fuel earlier on with the likes of Phil Manuel and whether he's going to make it or not, but obviously tyres, big discussion as well. At what stage are they at now, and how are they standing up to the challenge of this race at the moment? About 20 laps on these tyres now for pretty much everybody here as things stand. We watch the battle left over here as Chapman vacates the scene. Callahan now at the front of that group, and then next in the line, 15th place battle between Tommy DeWitt and Andrew Hoffman, and there seems to be a lapped car in here as well. I don't think that is the race leader. Somebody else who's just hanging out behind them at the moment, but it won't be too long before Buchanan does have to have these sorts of interactions. He's not that far behind Paul Burns, for example, to put the 18th place driver just one lap down.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well to try and put these, well, I've sort of lost where I am. I'm doing a bit of research as well, trying to work out this point standing, so all over the place. Simon Haynes is putting pressure though on Abel Verban, so Verban not able to keep up with Trav Daly, falling away. It's only back to a second, so not opening up too much, but he is now finding that Simon Hayes has lifted in the last couple of laps. It was a 23.5 last time by for Abel Verban, plays a 22.7, so almost 8/10 difference between the two of them. And that has meant that Simon Haynes is right here and ready to try and find a way past Verban if he can.
Yeah, will again apply the pressure through the middle sector here. look for that exit again out of turn number 7, as we've seen time and time again. And then the move towards turn 9 is the end goal here, coming out of turn 7, looking for the exit, and about a third of a second behind, so needs a good run through turn 8 as always to make this happen now. As I come through the very, very fast right-hander, a little bit offline there from Haynes, and it is so difficult to follow closely through there that Haynes not able to get down the inside and through into the hairpin this time.
No, and he certainly is doing his best to try and find a way past. He doesn't want to compromise himself too much and lose a lot of time, but certainly would love another position to get closer to where he did start. Travis Daly, he's not really reeling in Jace Douglas here. He's doing the best that he can, but Jace Douglas is maintaining a lot of car speed and did a 22.6 the last time by. We'll get an update on Travis Daly when he does cross the line and what that looks like. His lap time a 22.7, so they're pretty similar. Stephen Varga has dived in for his second and final stop of the evening as well. Phil Manuel, the only only one of 2 cars, the other one Tony Chapman, that has completed 2 stops and stays on the lead lap at the moment. So Phil Manuel will be potentially the lead car. He should jump Stephen Varga. We do have a bit of a question mark over whether he'll make it to the end on fuel, and Ryan Palmer commenting earlier that the tyres are a really tall ask as well to go 50 laps. They will be screaming by the time we get to the end of this one. We're on lap 32, so we're past the halfway point now, folks, which is fantastic news. We're racing for about 48 minutes here at Adelaide Street Circuit. The time has absolutely flown by. Will Buchanan in the Lowndes, or the 2004 FPR Cat Engineering Craig Lowndes tribute livery, is putting the speed that this livery is giving him to great use and leading quite comfortably. Out in front, we don't want to jinx him. He's had a bit of a rough trot of the Enduros so far this season. Gets a slowdown now as I've started talking about him. So there's the curse that I've put on him, is the slowdown at turn 2. The first one he's got all evening, if you would believe, folks. So I'll take the camera off him now, actually. Just hide that away. But he's out in front. Then Troy Stone Street in P2. Mark Poynton, before I even get a chance to talk about him, has got a slowdown in P3. Jace Douglas sitting comfortably in P4 and in the lead of the Cup Trophy class at the moment. We'll do some maths on exactly what that championship will look like between himself and Travis Daly, who sits 5th right now, and that's Abel Verban and Simon Hayes battling out for P6 on the road. Rick Varga, Brett Horsell, Darryl Callahan is your 10. Ricky Hyde's actually throwing his hat in the ring for that last spot in the 10 with that battle at the moment. Keep in mind that Phil Manuel, Stephen Varga and Tony Chapman have all completed their second pit stops, and Manuel is actually applying a bit of pressure to the back of Tommy DeWitt right now.
Yeah, so even after all the trials and tribulations of the day, still ending up in groups like this, Phil Manuel just showing the speed that he does actually have here, but has spent most of it behind somebody else, unfortunately, and also with penalties that have put him a lot further down than what he would have hoped for. That's a bit of a mistake from DeWitt, and straight through for Manuel. Wasn't going to waste an opportunity like that, and he goes through into 15th position, so nicely done from Phil Manuel. And he will continue on his way now to maybe even the top 10. As mentioned, though, the tyres are going to be in big trouble by the end here, as well as the fuel concerns that he might have. Maybe he just planned to make a third stop. I suppose there's nothing stopping him from doing that, but yeah, it would cost him an awful lot of time. And to my mind, he could have stayed out during the safety car and won some of that track position back, which would have put him in a better position going into this stage of the race.
It certainly would have, but it's, you sort of weigh up the do you, don't you. Paul Burns goes past Brad Hayes, who is a lap down, and Tommy DeWitt, I'm sure, will follow through very shortly to also put Brad Hayes a lap down on his timing screens. This is Simon Hayes. He's closed right back up to Abel Verban again, dropped away for a little while. He's found a bit of pace in that car once again. Rick Varga in behind has a slowdown and is losing a bit of time to Brett Horsell. Ricky Hyde and Burridge also close together with Darryl Callahan, and that group is forming as well, nice and healthy. I've done a bit of research and I've worked out, so if they stay where they are, 4th and 5th place, there's only going to be a 6-point swing between Douglas and Travis Daly, which means that as it stands currently, Travis Daly will stay in front in the championship. So he wins the championship if he stays there. If Jace Douglas maintains this 4th position, Travis Daly has to finish do some really quick maths here to work out what he has to finish. He has to finish 6th or better. If he drops to 7th place, the championship is Douglas's. So that's what Daly has to do. He has to finish in 7th. Verban and Haynes, so he has to finish ahead of 7th, so he has to finish 6th or 5th. So Verban is currently in 6th. If he loses a spot to both Verban and Haynes, which he currently is actually under pressure to do so, then this will be championship over for Travis Daly.
Yeah, so the pressure will be on, and given the fact that those two positions are right behind him at the moment, Verban and Haynes are staying with him, despite the fact that Travis Daly's only just passed Verban. Not exactly gotten away in the last few laps. So that will be providing him with a little bit of concern at the moment as to this championship. As we mentioned, these final rounds always so exciting because of how unpredictable they can be, especially here at Adelaide. As Haynes gets close again on the way towards turn 9, has a little look at going down the inside of Verban, forced to go on the outside instead this time, and he's not going to make his way round there by the looks of things. He'll tuck back into line. He comes through the double left-hander and try and fight his way through, but Gerard Haynes looks quicker than both the pair of them in front of him at the moment.
He does. He looks very, very quick, Simon Haynes, and he showed that in qualifying as well. He was 5th in quali, as we said, his best qualifying result of the season, and he's put the work in to have the pace around this circuit. So Jason needs 15 points over Travis, and Jared Cole in the chat letting us know exactly how it all stacks out. So if Douglas gains one more spot and finishes 3rd, even if Daly is 4th, it still won't be enough because that's a 15-point gap between 3rd and 4th. 270 plays at 255. So as they stand at the moment, he can finish, but if Douglas gains another spot, if something happens to any of those guys at the front, which we would not like to see, but if it does and they both gain a position, that becomes game over and Douglas wins. So Daly would have to catch up and try and pass him on track. A couple more drivers playing out the pit stops now. That is Burridge and Callahan into the lane and heading back out onto the circuit. So the second pit stop's starting to get ticked off as we get past the halfway point. Here we go. Simon Haynes looks down the inside of Verban. Verban drifts across to try and block him, but Haynes is there up the inside. There's going to be a little bit of contact. Verban pulls ahead at the exit of 9 and will maintain position for now. This is great news for Travis Daly, who can try and create a little bit of breathing space while these two try and sort this out. Andrew Hoffman has a slowdown. I don't know quite where he would have got that from. Must be turn 1. Looking at where he is on track, it probably would be turn 1 and 2. Simon Haynes not able to get past. That was probably one of the best opportunities he'd had. He had the inside line into 9, but still Abel Verban just good enough under brakes that he can defend.
Well, that was a very good chance for Haynes to go through there, but not able to pull it off. And by the way, going past lap 36 means that we are effectively at halfway in the second part of this race. If you count the second part of this race as everything after the safety car, we've had 26 laps since that safety car and there's 26 laps to go. So surprised that we haven't seen more pit stops in the top 10 because of that. We'll see whether Haynes decides to cut his losses now and come in because of that landmark as well. Paul Burns into the pit lane, so that could well kick off a whole stream of pit stops here as they've reached a point where these tyres are probably, at their limit now. Are they going to come in and change those, or are they going to run out for a longer time before coming in for the second mandatory pit stop of the day?
Yeah, that's the question. How long do you run on from here? If you're Travis Daly, do you go for the undercut? Maybe, potentially. Think about just getting a little bit of clean air, although he's not really going to have clean air, isn't he? He's going to come out probably in around where Phil Manuel currently is. So have to start weighing that up. Abel Verban has closed right back in, as has Simon Haynes. This battle continues to go on. Daly, he can afford to lose 1 spot at the moment. He cannot afford to lose 2. And if he does get caught up too much with Verban, that could be disastrous, and he needs to hold this position to maintain the championship victory. He also, again, can afford to drop to 6th place, but that leaves him vulnerable to the car behind. So getting caught up in a battle with both of these guys is the last thing he will want. But for Verban and Haynes, they're not worried about championship fixtures. They're just worried about getting the best result they can from the final race of the season. That gives you momentum heading into season 10, and they can start their championship campaigns off with a bang respectively if they can finish inside the top 5. They both love it. It would be fantastic for all of them, I'm sure. But Travis Daly would love nothing more than to secure the Cup Trophy Championship and promotion to the Pro Championship for next season. He's certainly got the pace to mix it with some of these pro guys up the front, as we've seen time and time again this season. Verban goes defensive into 9 from Haynes, who looks to go the switchback underneath, but the positioning of car 77 just shuts that down and he's not able to do so. Haynes, though, is right on the rear bumper through 11 here with Verban, now through 12, and then the kink to the right for 13, and then the heavy braking zone that is the final corner at 14. Deep under brakes, looks to the outside, almost on the grass there. But Haynes is getting aggressive, he's getting a little bit impatient, you have to feel. He's been stuck behind Verban for a while without a way to get past. He has the pace in that car, as we've stated a couple of times so far this evening, and he will be keen to try and clear him. Darryl Callahan looking to get away past Tommy DeWitt as well. Brett Horsell has found his way into the lane. Does Darryl Callahan go for the move? He does show the nose, he's deep under brakes. DeWitt leaves in the room, goes a bit wider to open the door, and that's Callahan promoted up another spot into 16th.
Yeah, very nicely done, and easily done as well, really. He made it look easy on the way towards the hairpin there. And more stops happening now. Horsell in, Hoffman from this group coming in as well. And finally, Phil Manuel doesn't have anyone in front of him. That hasn't happened very often this race. Into the top 10 now, and possibly showing some of the merits of his strategy, actually, by by stopping earlier on, because he still is the leader of those who've stopped twice, including ahead of Stephen Varga, only just in front of Varga, to be fair. They're in a fight, but nevertheless showing some of the merits of that strategy now, Phil Manuel, by making his second pit stop under safety car earlier on today. A little bit of a lock up there from Haynes, who continues to apply the pressure to Verban, but even as those two fight, Daly isn't really getting away and still will be very nervous about the prospect of losing 2 places and therefore losing the championship. And now we'll have to be very alive to this threat, because Haynes comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, this is undercut territory for Haynes. That's going to be a fresh set of tyres. Tommy DeWitt holding up, just letting the cars go past. So not interfering with that at all, and that's smart from DeWitt. That pit exit is very, very dangerous, and they'll be advised by their spotters that someone is coming along that front straight, and considering it's not full position, they are a lap down, they just hold, and that is a smart piece of racing. Now look at Phil Manuel coming into the final couple of corners now, but Haynes is at the pit exit, so he should actually come out in front here, Haynes, and he does. He gasses it up out of pit exit, and Phil Manuel's only just come onto the front straight, so that is the gap. Phil Manuel will be behind Haynes, who's battling with Verban and Daly. So the good news is for Daly, he shouldn't lose any spots once we get the corrected order after all the pit stops start to play out. But in saying that, Simon Hayes now has a very fresh set of boots on and will start to put in some ultra quick lap times like we know he can do. Troy Stone Street has come in. Mark Poynton has followed him. Ruby Buchanan is keen to push on out in front with about 21 laps to go. 22 laps to go roughly in this race. We're starting to get to the pointy end, and you won't want to stay out too much longer. Does Daly come in this time? No, he pushes on. So not keen on defending from that undercut straight away, which is an interesting call. It'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
I think he should have come in, to be honest, Daly, because that undercut will be very dangerous to him, and that leaves him only one position away from danger here. And if Verban even undercuts him by 1 lap, then that could be the end of this position for Travis Daly. I think he's in a very, very precarious position here indeed, that he's sort of led himself into at the moment. Buchanan carries on as the others come in behind him. I'd imagine it'll be in this lap, to be honest. I think his strategy would have been, let's wait for second and third to come in and then respond after that, because the gap that he had means that he doesn't have to worry about it too much. He doesn't have to come in this time if he doesn't want to, but he will do.
He does.
21 laps to go. He'll come in for the final time in this season, hopefully. He'll be hoping, and with the gap that he has, he can very, very easily cover off that undercut. But Travis Daly is in a much more precarious position. I think he should have come in last lap, and to be honest, he definitely should come in on this one, but let's see if he does.
Yeah, we're going to keep a close eye on whether he does. Jace Douglas has pitted and he's in P7 ahead of Simon Haynes, some 6 seconds clear, and it'll be interesting if he doesn't come in this time what the lap times will look like. He has slowed that car right down and used all of the curbs, so he will be into the lane alongside Abel Verban. So both these cars are in a little bit of a flick there for Daly. He's got a black flag. There's a black flag for Daly. That's going to take him right out of this one, and that is the championship over for Travis Daly. Drama on the entry to the lane. I believe that will be for an overspeed into the box, before he got to the control line, at the lane, and Jace Douglas is going to go past. Daly will have to sit there for 40 seconds. That is heartbreaking stuff, and what a devastating way to lose it for Travis Daly.
That is absolutely huge, and he's going to drop so far down here. Daly, we'll have to see how it all shakes out when all the stops are done, because we've got Rick Viger at the moment in the middle of all this, who hasn't yet made his final pit stop, but it may not matter. Let's have a look what happened here for Travis Daly in towards the very difficult, I've got to say, pit entry down here. He won't have been speeding by much. He seemed to get it slowed down pretty nicely to me, but I'd say if you're just a few kilometres an hour over, then it will ping you. And look at how far down he's falling here. This is championship over, unless there's big drama for Jace Douglas.
Yeah, this is, it is devastating stuff for Travis Daly. He's down in 18th place now behind Andrew Hoffman. He is the second last car on the lead lap, I believe, looking at our timing sheets. So Will Buchanan where is Will Buchanan on circuit? He is going through and lapping a couple cars. That is actually, looks like Travis Daly just in front of him. So Daly's actually about to go a lap down with the race leader coming on through, and that is certainly not going to help him at all. What Travis Daly needs now is a safety car to really try and get back in this, and we wouldn't certainly wish ill on anybody, but Travis Daly will be hoping that Jace Douglas makes a mistake somewhere. That's what he needs to get back in this championship. I don't think it'll happen. He's a very solid operator, Jace Douglas, and he will just be trying to bring it home now. He'll be told in his ear, someone will be telling him, someone will be advising him to keep the car pointing straight. The championship is in his hands if he keeps it where it is, but that is high drama and a massive moment in this championship. Unfortunately, heartbreak for Travis Daly in the final pit stop. You never want to see it. And Abel Verbam as well, just to note, he was behind Travis Daly when those stops played out, and he's actually now not only behind Simon Haynes but also Phil Manuel, Stephen Varga and Ricky Hyde, so he's lost a number of places through that stop process.
And I'm not really sure why. His stop wasn't that long compared to the others, a little bit longer, but I mean, Varga's stop was the same length as his, so was Phil Manuel's. I know they stopped a bit earlier to the degree of 10 laps or more, but yeah, that's a bit strange here. So maybe Travis Daly wasn't in as much trouble as I thought. And in any case, it wasn't really the timing of the pit stop that was his undoing here. It was speeding on the way into the pit stop that was rather his undoing. So yeah, we'll see if he can fight back from this, Travis Daly, but it's highly unlikely. It's high drama at the end of this season. Just shows that over the course of a long season like this, 10 rounds and you know, going on 15-20 races over the course of the season, it can all come down to one moment right at the very end. We said it was basically starting from zero for the two of them here tonight. 14 points only between the two of them at the start of the day. That is effectively a winner-takes-all scenario, with Daly having the slight advantage of being able to finish a couple of positions behind Douglas in the positions they were running at the time. Well, he's running many positions behind him now, and as you say, he needs a safety car, but he probably needs even more than that.
And looking at the numbers, he's still going to have work to do. So this is where Verban's come out. I believe on the numbers, Travis Daly would have come out in a similar position. So he'd be maybe P9, but P10 at best here, and would have to do some overtaking to catch back up to Jace Douglas, who's currently in P5. So he'd still have work to do. And I'm unclear as to why Abel Verban took as long and dropped as far behind as he did, because he's over 15 seconds behind Simon Hayes, who he was battling with at the time. So it's quite peculiar, but we'll, I can't quite work that one out. But you have to feel for Travis Daly. That was heartbreaking, and a couple of people in the chat also saying something similar. It's just absolutely devastating, and it certainly is. And no doubt we'll hopefully see him bounce back next season. Simon Haynes has a slowdown penalty, which is not ideal at all. He does have a slightly healthy margin to Phil Manuel, some 12 and a half seconds at the moment, and he's trying to clear that slowdown. So that'll eat into that a little bit with Phil Manuel, but not too much. Steven Varga behind Manuel, and then Ricky Hyde is feeling the pressure from Abel Verban, who's got a fresh set of boots on. So Ricky Hyde came in on lap 34, Abel Verban lap 41. So about a 7 lap difference in their tyres right now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, especially in the next 5 laps or so, it's going to really play into the hands of Abel Verban.
Yeah, it could go any which way, this battle really at the moment, as these final laps come through. I mean, Phil Manuel, 6th position at the moment, ahead of this group, is going to be the one who's struggling on his tyres most, but I'm impressed that he's even in this position, to be honest, given this strategy here today. Makes you wonder where he might have ended up if he'd have avoided that penalty from earlier on. May have even been in 4th position with the strategy he's undertaken here, which is not bad at all. Although 4th position would only be one position ahead of, a few positions ahead of where he qualified. He qualified in 8th place, so he is up the order slightly on where he started at the beginning of this race. Side by side meantime, and Travis Daly is into trouble again here. Contact with Hoffman. He's got to be careful reversing like that he doesn't get disqualified, but it's the desperation to make these places back up again that Travis Daly is into more trouble down at the hairpin.
Yeah, he's just trying to redress that on Hoffman after the contact, and then Hoffman's run wide again at 11 and open the door for Daly to go back through, but Daly will feel a little bit frustrated by that. Imagine a look in the background. I believe that's Troy Stone Street actually that's coming through. Here it is. And all of these cars are backmarked, because that's Ash Hall getting out of the way, and then you'll now have both Hoffman and Daly in front that need to try and navigate. Stone Street's got about a 4-second gap to Mark Poynton. So everyone at the front of this field in a bit of no man's land. Will Buchanan some 15 seconds ahead, slowly navigating his way through lap traffic. It's actually quite clear at the moment between those guys. And then Troy Stone Street is 16 seconds behind him and about 3.5 seconds in front of Mark Poynton. He's just been held up by lap traffic, which Mark Poynton will now find his way towards as well, which all that time he's gained about a second, will fall away as he navigates his way through that as well. So it's the ebb and flow of lap traffic and navigating lap traffic. Jace Douglas is 14 seconds behind Nat in P4, and then 8 seconds back to Simon Haynes, and then another 10 seconds back to Phil Manuel, who does have a little bit of company in Steven Varga and Abel Verban, but that is probably the closest battle on track. So the top 6 drivers are quite spread out as it currently stands.
Yeah, and that's bound to happen over the course of a long endurance race, but it just shows that the difficulty of this race and just how spread apart this field has become. But the fact that we've got some groups on the racetrack as well is a good thing as we get towards the conclusion of this one. Some fights to watch in the final 15 laps of the season. Varga close to Phil Manuel again on the way towards the hairpin. Not close enough though to make it a move down there into the hairpin this time round. Verban next in line. Watches on. Again, we're waiting for that moment where something changes in this group, whether it be a position change, somebody going wide, something like that, and all of a sudden everything will kick off from there. But until that moment, it's follow the leader as it stands, and the leader being Phil Manuel in this scenario in 6th place.
Yeah, as you said, you have to feel like something's building here. Really, it's gonna all unfold soon. Someone's gonna slow down somewhere, or just slightly miss a corner, get themselves out wide, and invite an opportunity for someone to come through, which creates a bit of a bottleneck, and then everybody's a part of it. So from pretty much Phil Manuel in 6th all the way down to Josh Harris in 12th place, there's not a lot separating these guys. The safety car is on track. The safety car is on circuit. That was Tim Nicol they just passed. So someone is in the wall somewhere. I'm looking for any cars that might have stopped and are not rolling. I cannot see. It might be Andrew Hoffman, actually. Andrew Hoffman is somewhere on circuit and has stopped. He is actually off the escape road. So we do have a safety car, and Matty Morgan called it in the chat saying that there was a couple wall hits and a safety car may yet come, and that's a brilliant prediction from you, Matty Morgan, because we now have the Chubby Buns safety car and Tim Nicol out on circuit and getting this field under control. So all the gaps that were established at the front of that field disappear just like that, Ewan O'Leary, and we are back to reset, back to zero, and it's with about, well, it'll be, once we go racing, 11, 12 laps left. It's game on.
Yeah, maybe as little as 10 laps to go. We'll wait and see. But obviously, as we, excuse me, as we mentioned before, more than a safety car needs to happen for Travis Daly to get back into this championship, because given his speeding penalty, he's actually a lap down along with Paul Burns. So 15 cars on the lead lap, a couple of them caught one lap down. Now I don't know whether they're going to be given a wave bye or not, but that is going to make life a bit easier for Douglas, whose big objective in this next part of the race has to just be to survive and stay out of trouble. This is the reason for the safety car. Andrew Hoffman in again a bit of a group here. Drivers going one way then the other. He goes a bit too wide there, up over the curb on the outside, and just sort of crashes into the wall on the way towards turn 4 and brings out our second safety car of the day.
Tried to do the old flick spin there, and it didn't quite work, which is unfortunate. And yeah, it was style points really. It was a bit of a moment. This was the crash going back. This was between Daly and Horsell, and this is what started all of that to really just close everybody in. Deep under brakes was Trav Daly, and then a bit of contact with Hoffman into the corner, and Travis Daly backed it up slightly. We thought he might have got the disqualification there, but got away with it in terms of the iRacing stewards. Yeah, it was interesting from Hoffman, just the flick spin not paying off. Everyone unlapping themselves now. That's Brad Hayes that's just gone through, Ash Hall going through as well. The other car that just found their way past was, have a look, Tommy DeWitt. So Tommy DeWitt has also unlapped himself and is pushing on. Trav Daly and Paul Burns as well will try and catch the back of this queue. So they're all now got the chance to, well, there'll be another lap of safety car, I would imagine here. I don't think the safety car will pull away just yet. He would have gone by now if we were going to go green this time by. So we will wait, and those guys will have an opportunity to catch this pack because they're going to move at a slow enough rate that they should. And then that will be the start of lap 51, which means we have 20, was that the safety car pulling away now? It is. The safety car's going. So the safety car, unless Will Buchanan is dropping back. I thought the safety car might have been going there. No, it's going to continue on. Okay, I got a little bit excited there, I think. The safety car looked like it was picking up speed, but Buchanan just managing and making sure that he's looking after those tyres, I think, and not trying to stay right with the safety car.
To be fair, the safety car might pick up a little bit of speed, but it was going painfully slowly before, so it's just going a little bit quicker now that the lap cars have been waved by. Travis Daly needs to gain a lot of places from here, and really needs Douglas to be knocked back a few positions, but there are lots of drivers not in that championship battle who are right behind Douglas, who won't really have a care for what's actually happening there between those two, and so that might just mean there's just a little bit of an opportunity here for Daly to get back into this. First needs to actually catch the back of the train. He's just coming over the line now behind Paul Burns as they're racing their way round to the back of the train. Should make it in time, although the pace car has picked up its speed. These guys should have enough time to get into the train, but still an absolutely massive job, and only 12 laps to do it to get into position for this championship again.
Yeah, it's a tall ask. Douglas is sitting in 4th, so that means that Daly's going to have to get back to 6th or 5th on the road, and there's a lot of cars he has to pass to get there. There could be a bit of chaos. We do know late race safety cars bring a lot of action, and the classic Australian phrase when it comes to supercars and safety cars is safety cars breed safety cars, and that certainly is the case at somewhere like Adelaide with all the action. There we go, Tim Nicol pulls away just before turn 8. And we are going to get a restart this time by Matty Morgan. Here comes the sheep stations. You are absolutely right, Matty Morgan. The sheep stations are well and truly up for grabs in these final 12 laps. It's going to be an all-out sprint for the Alliance Sim Racing finale here at Adelaide to round out what has been an amazing 9th season of the championship. Will Buchanan, champion-elect, leading the field at the moment. Stone Street will try and stay with him, though. This is the best chance he's had all day since that previous safety car to try and find a way past. Tim Nicol is in the lane. Once they get to turn 13, that is where they'll have the opportunity to go green from there. Ewan O'Leary?
Yeah, they certainly will. And it's going to be a huge restart in the context of this championship. Will Buchanan coming towards the final corner now, going to leave it late by the looks of things. Once again, they've gone past the point at which he can go now, but it's been at the final corner, generally where guys go after the restart here, and that's what's happening here as well. Buchanan gets the green flag waving again and leads them to the line. Still 18 on the lead lap now after those wave bys. Douglas in 4th, looking to hold on to this championship position here.
Yeah, and a great start from Will Buchanan once again, just converting that safety car beautifully, pointing, and a slowdown for Stone Street through across turn 2, so it's going to leave him vulnerable to lose second spot, and keep an eye on Douglas in behind as well, that could get himself onto the podium 2 weeks in a row. He's now going to go up the inside of Stone Street into 6. There's a little bit of side-by-side contact between the two of them. Douglas into 6. Will there be more contact? There is a little bit. He squeezes him wide. They're still side-by-side off 7. And now, on the run to 8, there is the gentleman's agreement in place. Will they adhere to it, though? Let's find out what happens when we get to 8. Cold tyres, no grip, they're side by side, into the wall, and around goes Douglas. He manages to catch it, finds the inside wall. Huge contact, he's going to lose a large number of places here. He's got damage on that car. Ricky Hyde goes down the inside now. It's all going on in this field. 2 into 1 was never going to work in 8. That's not the corner where you want to go side by side. They'll argue until they're black and blue about who was ahead and who had the right of way there. The reality is neither of them yielded. It ended in tears for Jace Douglas, and he now finds himself in P8. He's still in with a shot at the championship. He's still in control. Trav Daly is 17th, but Travis Daly, the door is open. Ricky Hyde senses an opportunity to try and move forward, and for Jace Douglas, he'll feel frustrated, but he has to reset himself now.
He certainly does. I mean, he felt, I guess, the attack was the best form of defence there, but attacking in towards turn 8 side by side, to be honest, I think he'll argue the case that he was the one with his nose in front, but I would argue he's the one with the championship on the line. Whether he's got his nose slightly in front or not, I'd be the one backing out of that first, because right now he's still being 4th, maybe at worst in 5th if somebody else came barreling down the inside as well, but he'd still be in a comfortable championship position. As it is, he's now down in 8th place with probably some severe damage. To be honest, I'm surprised it's not worse, the damage that he's picked up here with that being such a high-speed corner. But anyway, he's in a bit of trouble now, Douglas. He's left the door open for Travis Daly. Yes, there's only 10 laps to go, but Daly is beginning the fight back down the inside in towards the hairpin on Burns into 16th place. So there's one place and there's contact. Has he gone around maybe? There might have been more drama in this championship.
There might be more drama indeed. We're having a look. I don't think... Oh, Paul Burns. There is... We'll have a look. Where is he? Oh, there's more contact. Look at this in the background. Vargo a part of this. Trav Daly is a part of this as well. And that has to be over and out for Trav Daly. A huge amount of contact. Rick Varga is stranded. We'll get that car moving, albeit with a lot of damage. And it's all happening up and down this field. There has been drama aplenty. We called it after the safety car that it was going to happen, and happen it has. No safety car yet. Everybody is still moving at this stage, but the pressure is well and truly on for a number of drivers. Daly is in the lane. That has to be almost over and out for him. We're going to go back here and have a look at what happened. This is between... Well, actually, we're not going to have a look at what happened. Let's jump back to live pictures for just a second and get our replay to fix itself. And have a look at a black flag again for Trav Daly, so he's going to have to sit there even longer. Jace Douglas, this was in the inside, so this is where it started with Stone Street. Side by side through 6, into 7. More side-to-side contact. They come off 7 very, very even. The drag race down towards turn 8. Now, the gentleman's agreement is whoever's in front really has track position here. And if you have a look, it was ever so marginal between the two of them. Nothing in it at all. There's side-to-side contact. He squeezed to the inside wall. He gets the half spin, gets to the inside wall again, more contact, loses more places, and then just carries a little bit too much speed into 9 as a result. Continues dropping down the order, and it's a very, very difficult incident for Jace Douglas, to manage. Travis Daly as well. We'll try and find out what happened to him and Rick Weiger. That was a huge, it was a massive, massive incident, wasn't it? And a number of drivers were caught up in. Rick Weiger down the order. Here he is into turn number 9, and I think he just arrives here with nowhere to go. Look at Trav Daly, and there's contact and spins him around, and then caught up in that as well was Paul Burns, and Weiger backs it into the wall, and Daly was desperate for the move on Burns, and just Rick Weiger, the innocent party, the innocent bystander in that one. Oh, into the wall in the background as well as Chris Burridge.
Yeah, and Daly had to do that, by the way. He had to try, but yeah, executed badly, and he's back down to 19th place now. So Douglas will have a target as to, I don't know what that target is now. If Daly finishes 19th, I'm not sure where Douglas has to finish. Certainly 8th place would be more than good enough, and I'd imagine he won't try and get involved in the fighting that's going on up in front of him at the moment. He'll just stay back and sort of take this 8th place with him and take the championship as a result. But what drama we've seen here tonight. Travis Daly's speeding penalty first of all to really open the door to drama, then Douglas being a bit over ambitious, I thought, on the restart there to try and take another position when he didn't really need one. He felt that attacking, as I said, was the best form of defence, but actually it got him into more trouble in the end. And then that latest bit of trouble here for Travis Daly has surely settled this one now, as there's a penalty to car 777. That is Travis Daly, 10-second penalty for that contact with Hoffman.
So that was a while ago.
Oh, that's earlier. Okay.
That was the contact of the hairpin a little while ago, and a black flag which indicates a drive-through for Travis Daly, and I would say that would be the contact with Rick Weiger and Paul Burns. So race control fairly decisive on that one, and has to come to the pit lane once again. So a night that Travis Daly was hoping would be the championship night has not been the fairy tale ending he was certainly hoping for. But for Jace Douglas, and there we go, the pit lane penalty for car 777, confirmation coming through from race control. Jace Douglas, it looked a little bit up in the air with that contact with Troy Stonestreet on the safety car restart through 8, but he has regained, he's up into P8, he's putting some pressure on Abel Verban. He just has to be smart about this, get the car to the end now. He's done the hard work, he's in the right position. The championship is his if he can stay here. Will Buchanan has been reeled in a little bit by Mark Poynton at the front of this field. He got to slow down the last time by, gets away with it this time, and probably won't make the same mistake again. Mark Poynton, for his trouble, has actually just got to slow down, which will leave him vulnerable to Troy Stonestreet. So the battle for the podium, maybe not completely done yet. Simon Haynes, position number 4, if you don't mind. So he's up a spot from where he started. The best achiever of this race. This will be a great result for him, his best result of the season. I am willing to say it's because he's got Solar Gard on the side of the car, so he's got the major sponsor boost. That adds about 10 brake horsepower, I think, to these cars if you have the major sponsor on the side of your car. So everyone's probably going to start to do that next season. But this is a brilliant result for him. Flown under the radar a little bit, been involved with some really nice battles between Travis Daly and Abel Verban, who's just been overtaken by Jace Douglas. But Simon Haynes, a great night for him, and if he keeps this up over the next 8 laps or 7 laps, this will be a brilliant result to bring home.
It absolutely will. Still not entirely sure of the rationale of still trying to make places at this point. I would be staying where I was if I was Douglas at this point, to be honest, staying in 8th place as he was a couple of months ago. But anyway, again, he's looking to move forward, not willing to settle for whatever position it is at the moment. Still trying to gain places. Weiger and Phil Manuel just still up in front here, and again, what a great strategy it's been from Phil Manuel here, now into the top 5 because of the trouble for Douglas a couple of moments ago. Weiger applying the pressure though, because Manuel's tyres very, very old, even with the safety car, just allowing a little bit of respite for them. It's still big pressure for him towards the end, as Douglas is going to have to give up that place to Verban pretty much straight away as he gets to slow down through the first chicane again. Yeah,
and he's just got to be careful here. Ricky Hyde is lurking. And look, Douglas the championship is all about his. Trav Daly's in the lane, and I don't think very interested in coming back out. He might come back out. We'll wait and see. He's just jumped in, actually, so we'll keep an eye on that, and if he does choose to stop, but you would want to try and get the car to the end here and get some points on the board. He come this far, and he does come back out on circuit, so I take my hat off to Trav Daly. He's had a very rough night. 2 stop and holds from the 2 times he's come into the lane later in this race, plus the drive-through, plus a 10-second time penalty, plus some really rough battles and some contact, and it's not gone his way tonight, but he's soldiering on through. He's still out there, he's still turning laps, and that's brilliant character, and just shows how determined he is to bring this one home and see it out and reset and go again for season 10 in just over a month's time. We're looking at Ricky Hyde and Jace Douglas. Jace Douglas in the foreground had a little bit of overlap on Verban off of the final corner, but wasn't able to hold that momentum through towards turn 1, 2 and 3, and will settle in behind. Verban actually has a slowdown, so this could open the door. The tables have turned, and what cost Jace Douglas a spot on the previous lap might be what gives him the position back on this one, and it is. Verban concedes the position. Jace Douglas moves into P number 7 once again, and I must say considerably ahead of the next car in class. The next car in that Cup Trophy class is Darryl Callahan down in 13th, who's having a great night being second in class, but Jace Douglas has a little bit of breathing room, not only for the championship but also for the class lead in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dear me, very close side by side down there for Stephen Varga, who had the door almost shut in by Phil Manuel into turn 9, but Varga comes to the outside, then there's contact, and Manuel is able to keep the place. Douglas, oh dear me.
Jace Douglas, it almost ended in tears once again. They're going to go side by side, and there's contact side by side with Ricky Hyde and Stephen Varga into the final corner now. Will there be more contact? They're still side by side. And look at Abel Verban. He's going to try and make this 3 wide if he can. Ricky Hyde says, no, thank you. I'm going to disappear in the distance. You guys can go 2 wide. Varga edges out, though, as they get towards the chicane at turns 1, 2 and 3 and holds the position. But that was a lot of drama. And I think Jace Douglas just saw his life flash before his eyes for a second there, because it was almost tears once again, late on the brakes. Abel Verban, there's more contact. Varga's going to go into the wall. Just keeps it out. No, he backs it in ever so slightly. Abel Verban very late on the brakes. Contact. Varga was trying to shut the door. He loops the car around, gasses it up and gets it rolling again, albeit in 14th position. But this is a lot of drama. We only have 3 laps to go in the race, folks, and it's all on for young and old now. The sheep stations are well and truly up for grabs. Abel Verban getting the elbows out. Contact with Varga, and Chris Burridge now is keen to get this position. He's back into the 10, and Burridge is having a great night. Massive contact with the wall at the outside of 8. Brett Horsell should go through on this one. That'll leave this car wounded for Chris Burridge. The cars are tough. They're not that tough, and that's a massive hit.
Yeah, that was big contact there, and it was strange as well. The weaving before turn 8 was very strange, because you can't overtake through there if you're not the driver with the nose in front. So very weird as to why you would actually even bother trying. But anyway, that resulted in pretty heavy contact with the wall. This group just will not rest. Phil Manuel still, I guess, you could say at the head of it, although there's some gaps in there now for 5th position. Douglas just about surviving even more drama, almost ending in tears again, although he's now applying the pressure to Phil Manuel as well, looking to get back into the top 5 again. And Varga, after looking like he was in that 5th position, he was there ever so briefly, suddenly gets involved in 2 half spins and is all the way down into 14th place. It's all happening here. 2 laps to go at the line in this season, and what a conclusion to the season we're having.
What a conclusion indeed. ASR always delivers. We said on the safety car restart there was going to be action here, and there certainly has been. Jace Douglas now putting the pressure on Manuel through turn 8. They tip it in. No one gets towards the wall. They don't even get close this time by. They're not going to risk anything if they can avoid it. In the background, that's Burridge making contact with the wall. That could open up Brett Horsell to try and go through. Defensive driving from Burridge to shut the door. Manuel and Douglas still battling it out. Ricky Hyde says, hello boys, I'd like to get into part of this as well if you don't mind. They're going to be side by side off of 12 into 13 now. Douglas will have the outside line for the final corner. A defensive move from Phil Manuel to try and hold position. He runs a little bit wide though. That'll open the door for Douglas to do the switchback. Here we go. Down the front straight. Is this going to be the move he needs? And it is. He's ahead before they even get to turn one. Ricky Hyde wants a part of it as well if he doesn't mind. But it is a positional change and back into the 5 for Jace Douglas. A great move, a great overtake. Stone Street as well, putting on pressure for the podium. I don't know where to look at the moment, Ewan.
No, it's impossible to know where to look right now in these final couple of moments. You do see these things occasionally towards the end of a season. Everybody knows that it's the last race. It'll be the last race for a while until the new season starts. And so everybody's just having one last big bash here at the end of the season. And it's a great watch at the moment. Douglas now into the top 5 and surely is home and dry. Phil Manuel is really seeing those tyres fall apart in front of him now. Almost surprised he hasn't got a meatball for getting to 0% yet. I'm sure he's not that far away. Here comes Hyde on the way towards the hairpin, shaping like he's not going to make the move, and then he has a look. He's not actually going for it though. Manuel is one lap away from holding on to 6th place here in a brilliant alternate strategy, but don't forget was hindered with some penalties and a lot of time spent in traffic. Finally now he is the cork in the bottle as the start the final lap of the season.
Yeah, starts final up and into the lane goes Phil Manuel, so he's not going to make it to the end. He's out of fuel. He has to come in and take just a little bit of fuel. A 10-second time penalty for car 82. That is Phil Manuel for contact with 686. That is Stephen Varga. So that is a penalty coming through for Phil Manuel. And just as he dives in the lane as well, that is rough. Looking as well, just keep in mind that the driver's in position, so it doesn't matter what class you're in, you're all battling for overall result, and that's how points are awarded. So points aren't awarded based on where you finish in class, they're awarded based on where you finish overall. So Jake Douglas, the higher he finishes overall, no matter who he's battling, whether it be Cup Trophy drivers or pro drivers, he will get points. But it's this man that should be the centre of our attention. He came out swinging at the beginning of the season and we said keep an eye on what he does. He is a serious championship contender. He's had a couple of difficult races. He put the wrong tyres on at Sandown. It didn't quite go his way last week at Bathurst. But after all the rounds, all the trials and tribulations, one man stands tall as a champion. Will Buchanan fittingly wins the final race, his first endurance race of the season at Adelaide, and with it, the Season 9 Solar Gard Supercar Championship for Alliance Sim Racing. Stone Street just misses out on getting into second ahead of Mark Point and holds on. Simon Haynes, take a bow. What a finish for him. His best result of the season in P4. Jace Douglas will be your Cup Trophy champion after late race drama for Trav Daly, but Douglas has had a brilliant drive all season to keep himself in the championship equation, and he wins in emphatic fashion with a 5th result at Adelaide. And we have a couple more drivers yet to come across the line. Paul Burns will finish in P14. Phil Manuel is going to finish 15th at the end of all of that, with a 10-second time penalty hanging over his head. He shouldn't lose any time to Tommy DeWitt, who isn't quite to the line yet, some 16 seconds behind Ash Hall and Trav Daly. And Trav Daly, it is super, super heartbreaking for him, and you have to, my heart goes out to the man. It is devastating, but this man on your screen, Will Buchanan, is champion for season number 9. And a brilliant drive to take home this championship all season. He's done a fantastic job, as has Jace Douglas, who brings home the Cup Trophy Championship. And we'll talk to all of those guys very, very shortly. Let's get our results up and have a look at how they finished in the end. A reminder of what it all looked like. It's Will Buchanan home by 4.7 seconds over Mark Poynton and Troy Stone Street, just a couple of tenths behind, and really lifted on that final lap to try and get that second spot back. But in the end, we'll finish 3rd. Simon Haynes, a great result for him in P4. Jace Douglas, your Cup Trophy champion in P5. Then Ricky Hyde, Abel Verban in the 10. Chris Burridge, Brett Horsell and Josh Harris also in the 10. A great result for all of those guys. And a strong way to finish the season leading into season 10 in just over a month's time. Darryl Callahan just misses out at the end of the day and finishes in 11th place, but second in class. So a fantastic result for him. Then Tony Chapman, who was looking quick early on, but drops outside the 10 in the end. Stephen Varga, that late race spin cost him a top 5 result and has to settle for 13th. Paul Burns and Phil Manuel in 15th, followed by Tommy DeWitt, Rick Varga, Ash Hall, and Trav Daly. Brad Hayes as well, finishing 6 laps down at the end of that one. Looking a little bit further afield as well, Andrew Hoffman and Troy Sipple. Troy Sipple not making the end of this race, unfortunately. But Ewan, what a result. We'll have a chat to some drivers very, very shortly. But that was a very exciting finish to what was a cracking race at Adelaide.
Yeah, it certainly was. A late race safety car will do that and will help, of course, but a very exciting finish there with championship drama. I wasn't expecting, frankly. In the end, Jace Douglas gets away with it, but I'll say that because the contact that he had through turn 8 at the time, I thought that was it. I thought the championship pendulum had swung once again, but there you see the provisional final points. Doesn't look so close in the end, does it? With, what's that, 70 points between the two of them, but it's felt much closer than that throughout the season. And for Will Buchanan as well, extending that lead to 208 by the end of this season as well. As I said throughout that race, I feel that capping that off with an Enduro win, with a good result in an Enduro, really caps off a really well-rounded season at this 200-kilometre race here tonight. As you mentioned, most of the points accumulated through sprint races so far. To get that Enduro down as well will be very, very good news for Will Buchanan, who, as I say, ends the season on a high.
Yeah, he certainly does. And you can see there, Poynton jumps into third. Jason Bence, with not racing tonight, loses a handful of spots back to 5th in the championship. Douglas secures that championship victory and finishes in 9th place overall, but ahead of Travis Daly, who unfortunately heartbreak at the end of that one for him after a rough night. Josh Harris, that top 10 result jumps him up 4 places to finish 13th in the championship, so a great night for him. And Brian Borg, who did not race this evening either, drops to 18th in the championship. Phil Manuel gains 1 and Paul Burns gains 2 to finish inside that top 20. We'll have a quick scroll through the rest of the championship classes while we wait for our drivers to jump in and have a chat. You can see Scotty Perrin's in there as well. Luke Powell, Jamie McKnight, a couple of drivers that we didn't see too much this season. Hopefully we'll see back for season 10 in a little while, well, in a few weeks' time. I do believe we have one man that we can chat to, and it is indeed our champion, or the champion-elect of season number 9. It is Will Buchanan. Will, mate, welcome in. First of all, congratulations. You had an Enduro race that's gone your way for once, which is fantastic. And I definitely think it's that livery that's on the car. It looks beautiful. But congratulations on the victory and also the championship.
Hey, guys. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's good to finally get a good result in Enduro. It's about bloody time.
I'm trying to actually find a clip of you to show while we talk to you on screen, and there's not really any overtaking moments besides the start of the race where Stone Street, he had a nice launch off the line, but the second phase for that start for you was just absolutely fantastic. And then from that point on, you didn't really concede any positions. You just sort of disappeared up the roads. The car almost looked like it was on rails tonight.
I was kind of second guessing myself at the start. I didn't know if Stone Street got a good launch or not because I couldn't see him, and I didn't know. Obviously, it's a bit sketchy going too wide into turn 1, so I kind of backed off a little bit, and then I saw him in my rearview mirror back off. So I was like, okay, I'll just take it. And to be honest, I really struggled with the setup tonight. I was not comfortable at all, one bit. I was kind of scared the whole night. I was kind of spinning it at one point. I just never felt comfortable at all.
Well, it's certainly did look uncomfortable out there at all, mate. Congratulations. It's a brilliant season for you and a championship victory. Are we going to see you come back next season and defend this championship in season 10?
Yeah, why not? I just registered this afternoon, actually, for season 10. So, fantastic. Yeah, why not?
Mate, well, it'll be fantastic to see you out on track, hopefully with some more fantastic liveries like that one you raced with tonight. I'm a very, very big fan of that, indeed. Listen, before we let you go, mate, for the final time this season, any shout-outs or thanks you want to give?
Obviously, just big shout-out to all the boys at RER. All the support they give me is unreal. I can't thank them enough. And then to all our team sponsors, AITX, Shield Code, Sudsby, Chubby, Chelsea Clean, Slater's Glassworks, all the stuff they do behind the scenes makes this all worth it. So appreciate them, and also thank you to you guys for the broadcast each week, and thank you to Race Control with all the hard work they do.
Mate, well, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch you work this season. It's a fantastic result for you. Go and enjoy it, mate. Soak up this championship victory, and we'll see you in season 10.
Doozy guys, see you then.
Will Buchanan there, winner of the race tonight at Adelaide, and also your championship victor for season 9. Let's have a chat to the man that finished second place on the road tonight. It was hard going there, a nice battle with himself and Troy Stonestreet, but Mark Poynton joins us in the booth now. Mark, welcome in, mate. Congratulations. It was a tough old race out there tonight, but it was a good result for you.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah, it's always tough here, especially 62 laps. It's can't really afford to make too many mistakes here either. So the centre chicane, it's always a tough one, and then the rest of it is nothing but concrete. So yeah, good fun though.
Mate, talk to us about this season. Obviously, it's been a fantastic season for you. How have you felt behind the wheel of the car? There's been a couple of challenging rounds for pretty much, I think, everyone. I don't think anyone's had a straightforward round so far this season. Just your thoughts on summing up what season 9 has been like behind the wheel of the Frog Leap juiced racing car.
Mate, yeah, I mean, P3 in the championship, pretty happy with that. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, the season was pretty good as a whole. I mean, Buchanan was next level. And hats off to Troy as well. He drove brilliantly, and it's been a good hard fight. There's a few guys that were absent, but yeah, no, it's felt pretty good. It's been a different championship with all of the Aussie tracks in there, so it's been a bit of fun. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Mate, I'm glad to hear it. Season 10, where we've got a very exciting calendar coming our way. We're going to see you on track looking for in the championship hunt once again.
Yes, mate. Yep, I've signed up for season 10, and you'll see myself and Phil Manuel for the Bathurst Enduro coming up too. So looking forward to both of it.
Mate, looking forward to seeing how the you boys get on at the Bathurst Enduro and again in season 10. Look, mate, before we let you go for the final time this season, the floor is yours for shout-outs and thank yous that you do want to give.
Look, first of all, huge congratulations to Will. He was faultless all season. Well done to Troy as well, and it's and the rest of the guys. It's a good league with a good bunch of guys. So thank you to all the admin, Race Control for the season. It's a tough gig, and they've done an awesome job. To you guys in the broadcast, you guys do a fantastic job. Enjoy watching the broadcast afterwards. So huge thanks to you guys, and then from our team, thanks to Juiced Energy and Stodhor, and also thanks to Phil for coming and joining me mid-season as a teammate. It's been great to have him on board.
Mate, it's been great to have both of you on board, and we look forward to seeing how you get on at Bathurst in a few weeks' time, and then again it's when we get underway for season number 10, mate. Congratulations, enjoy this one, and we'll see you back out on track very shortly.
All right, thanks, Isaac.
Mark Poynton there, second in tonight's race and third overall in the championship. A great season for the Juice Frog Leaps Chevrolet Camaro. We have one more man to chat to waiting for us, and it is our Cup Trophy champion, another P5 tonight. A great result at Bathurst last week, saw him get on the podium, and he finishes 5th overall tonight in 2 fantastic results to round out what has been a stellar season for the man. Jason Douglas, mate, welcome into the booth. A pleasure to chat to you. Congratulations on the Cup Trophy championship. You worked hard for that one, but has to feel good.
Yeah, it feels good, thank you. Can't thank my team enough, JMR, Total Energies coming on board, and everyone over there. They've just backed me to go and do my best, and have come out and have done the job, which is magnificent. And
Mate, talk to us about how this season has felt for you. Obviously, there's been some challenging races, that is for sure. But what have you felt across the season, the ups and downs that these tracks have certainly brought for, I think, pretty much everyone? I don't think anyone's had a fairly straightforward season all year.
I didn't compete in a couple of rounds because I had other commitments, and the bad part was for me, I wasn't running the banner and didn't realise for the first 4 rounds. That's why I lost 40 points. And I'm glad that people pulled me up and said, you're not running the banner. Otherwise, yeah, this wouldn't have come to where I am now, sitting here with another championship to my name, which is good. So yeah, thanks to everyone out there.
Mate, look, it's a thoroughly deserved championship, and it means that you will step up, I believe, given past context, that you'll step up to the pro category and the pro championship next season, which is super exciting for you. Are we going to see you back on track for season 10 in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, I was one of the first that, as soon as it come out, I put my name down because I really like this league and really like the broadcast behind it, and all my supporters as well come and watch me, which is good.
Mate, well, it's been a pleasure having you and watching the work on track. You've certainly provided plenty of action for us this season in a good way, and lots to commentate on. It's been a pleasure to watch your work, and we look forward to doing that into next season, and also the Bathurst 1000 that is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Before we let you go, mate, for the final time this season, the floor is yours for thank yous and shout outs that you do want to give.
I'd like to thank JMR, Bruce, who spotted for me tonight and did my fuel. I couldn't do it without him for the whole season. He's just backed me 100%, which I'm very thankful. I know I'm a angry person in behind this mic when nothing's going right, but as soon as the helmet goes on and I'm out there, he's the one that calms me down to get to where I am. My parents, mum and dad, they backed me 100%, and I can't do it without them. They've brought me everything and all that, and yeah, can't thank him. He's took me on board and told me, let's go, mate, we've got this. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know where I'd be today. It's just unbelievable to have 4 championships under my name, under the JMR banner, and part of Jet. It's just amazing.
Mate, well, it is thoroughly deserved. You've driven brilliantly all season, and we look forward to watching your success for many, many seasons and years to come. Congratulations, mate. Enjoy it, soak it in, celebrate this one, and we'll see you back on track in a few weeks for the Bathurst 1000, where you have been quick at Bathurst, so I'm keen to see a good result there for you, and then to see you move forward as we head into season 10 once you're in the pro class as well. It should be fantastic, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I would like to also thank my sponsors. I forgot about them. Night Shift Collectives, Lodge Bros, Total Energies, Course Engine Oil, and all the guys at JMR.
Mate, well, I'm sure they all appreciate, and I know a lot of the JMR guys looking at the chat tonight have been watching along and supporting you and getting around you, which is fantastic to see. So congratulations, and I'm sure we'll be chatting to you next season.
Yeah, we'll do. Thank you.
Jason Douglas there. He is the champion for the Cup Trophy class for season number 9. And with that interview, we unfortunately did not have Troy Stone Street jump in to have a chat to us tonight, runner-up in the championship in P3, but still a fantastic result for him as well. Your first time in the booth for a regular season race for these guys, and what a round to pick, Adelaide. It's, we talked at the top of the evening about how it always delivers, and that certainly was the case tonight.
Yeah, it certainly did. We talked earlier about the fact that this is the championship finale round here at Adelaide these days, rather than the opener, which it used to be. But it's a great place for a championship finale. So unpredictable, as we've seen here tonight. So many different bits of drama there, but especially between obviously Travis Daly and Chase Douglas there, who was very, very pleased to go on and win this championship here eventually tonight. I did wonder for a moment whether he would actually manage it, because just in that moment there through turn number 8, it looked like he'd thrown it all away, but thankfully had not, and he goes on to win the title. A great race, a great finale, and a great end to a great season. So looking forward to the next one after a short break before season 10.
Yeah, only a few weeks away, and the Alliance Sim Racing Bathurst 1000 happening on the last weekend of September as well. So get excited for that one. Mark your calendars. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing, as it always is. 1,000 kilometres around the mountain. That will conclude another really, really entertaining season of the Alliance Sim Racing Solar Gard Supercar Championship. A massive thank you to all the sponsors, 24/7 Sim Services, Chubby, Buns, and a few other new sponsors that are on board this season as well. Launtel is certainly one of those sponsors sponsoring the safety car tonight. And look, we thank all of you for tuning in across the course of the season. It's been fantastic to have your company. If you still are looking for your racing fix, don't fear. Tomorrow night, the MC Motorsport Easy Motorcycle Spares GT3 Championship will wrap up at Phillip Island in what is set to be an absolute cracker. Ewan O'Leary will be in the box alongside Jared Cole for that one, and I will certainly be watching where I can. I want to give a big shout out as well to my partner Kelsey, who on our anniversary has let me come and commentate this race tonight and bring you all this fantastic broadcast. So a big thank you to her for being super understanding, and I'll be taking her out tomorrow night to make it up to her. But a huge thank you for you, all of you watching, for fantastic support across the season. It's been a pleasure to have your company. I've been Isaac Fogarty alongside Ewan O'Leary in the commentary box. We've also had Thomas Searle, Ryan Palmer and Jared Cole in the booth throughout the season. We hope you all stay safe and look after each other. We'll see you in a few weeks' time for Season 10 of Alliance Sim Racing, the Solar Gard Supercar Championship. Until then, it is bye-bye.